Hi guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rita Amanyire. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. And in today's video, I'm basically going to be telling you about eBird Uganda. eBird Uganda is going to be officially launching for the first time in Uganda. And I had the opportunity of attending one of the workshops that happened in Kibale National Park. eBird Uganda will be launching officially on 16th December 2024. And there's been a series of workshops that the team of eBird has been organizing and carrying out, and I happened to attend one of them. So basically this video is just going to be a video telling you about the event, the workshop, a little bit of what we learned from the workshop, what was shared during the workshop, and the series of workshops have been happening. So they had one in Kibale National Park, they had another in Bwindi National Park, and the series of workshops was happening before the official launch, which is going to be happening on 16th December 2024. So the workshop that I attended happened at Kibale National Park, but specifically we started our session from Kibale Forest Lodge, a lodge after Bigodi town on your right. If you're coming from Fort Portal and heading towards Kamwenge, or if I should say Mbara, it is on your left. So it happened at Kibale Forest Lodge, one of the top lodges, if I should say, in Kibale National Park. Like, it's very well known, so it's easy to find. So we started our session there in the morning at 7:30 a.m. and basically what we're going through during the session was introduction to eBird, and our trainers, who were Marshall and Colin, took us through downloading the app, teaching us how to use the app, how to enter observations of birds that we see in the field, and they taught us different things. So basically it was like an introduction session, and it happened from about 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And this workshop, they were just taking us through what we were supposed to learn about the workshop, about the eBird app, and how to get it installed on our phones. So you can watch this short clip to hear what Colin has to say from the morning session.
Right. So we've done our list, and now we're going to stop. Now, when you're eBirding, you want to have kind of location-specific lists, but it's really flexible as to how long you bird. You can do a checklist. Like we did a checklist, it was 10 minutes. I do a lot of 5-minute checklists from a stationary point. I also do a lot of checklists where I'm walking for a couple of hours. The key thing is that if you're going to a different location, let's say I'm going from here over to Sunbird Hill, I'm going to create a different list. If you're going more than like, more 4 or 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours would be like the max, right? Then I would start a new list. You can always stop and start new lists, and that's really helpful, right? So we can stop this list, and then we could immediately do another list, and that's really useful because the more lists, the more you start getting to these questions about detection frequency and how birds are changing. And this is really good for the way we use data. So we're going to end this list and upload this list. And so what you do is stop the list. And what this does is when you stop, it tells me that this was a stationary count, because that GPS track, it knows that I wasn't walking around. So stationary means I was standing in one location. If you walked more than like 30 meters, it would start to become a traveling count, and it would measure the distance. If you walked 1 kilometer, let's say you walked 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers. This kind of information is really important for interpreting the data. How many birds did you see for the amount of time that you were birding? And this is really important to the science behind eBird. So, how many observers were we? We're a group of observers. How many people are in our group for this checklist?
Around 20.
20 people. All right, so 20 people. You can just hit the plus sign and add people if there was a group of 4, or you can tap and type in 20 people. We were birding for 11 minutes, and there was no distance because it's a stationary count. At this point, if I wanted to share the checklist, and the way that share the checklist means is that if you're with somebody else in the birding party, I can put your eBird username in, and what that does is it creates a copy of this checklist and puts it into your account, right? And so, like as an example, what's your username?
Username?
Yeah. Your eBird username.
Skiba.
Here, type it in. So what I'm going to do is I am typing. I put in his username. When I upload it, what it's going to do is it's going to put this checklist in my account, and it's going to put a copy in his account. Now he can edit that list, and it won't affect my list because that's his list. But that's really valuable. It's to share the list because it tells us that we are birding together, and it helps us know how to interpret that data for science. But at the same time, this is my list. He can't edit my list, and I can't edit his list. So once he has a copy of the list in his account, that's his list, and he could be like, Village Weaver, I didn't see those Village Weavers. I'm going to delete that. But I saw, I saw a long-crested eagle, and I'm going to add that to my list. And we're each going to have our own list. So that allows us to work together as a group, but at the same time, each have your own personal list. eBird, your data is your data. Nobody can change your data. It's you own your data.
So after this session, after we'd gotten the app downloaded on our phones, we now went into the field, and we decided to bird one of the trails that was next to Kibale Forest Lodge. So it started at Kibale Forest Lodge, so we birded the Biaka Trail, and we had an opportunity to use the app to enter different birds and different checklists. I'm going to share the checklists in a screenshot so that you can see the birds that we were able to see on that trail. So we did birding of the Biaka Trail for about 1 hour, and we're supposed to go with our friends and bird through. So we're divided into teams of people, of about 3 people. So the people that I was birding with in my group, led by Patricia, who is one of the local bird guides, very good with birds on ground, is the one who was leading the group. And then we had Ian and myself. So we were 3 people that were birding along that trail. After that, we went back and we went through another session where they were teaching us how to install, and we had a sort of like a Q&A session. So the eBirders were sharing with us what we had seen. They were sharing with us how to get well conversant with the app. They explained to us what a complete checklist in the eBird app is, what a non-complete checklist is. And people had a few questions about Marlin, about the eBird app. And during this session, they were free to ask those questions. So after that session, we had a cup of tea, which was organized by Kibale Forest Lodge, with the team led by Harriet. So they gave us a cup of coffee, some tea, and then after that, we still went into another session, which was really interactions. So people who had questions for the facilitators like Colin and Marshall could approach them. It was such a free session that you would simply walk to the people who had come, the team from Kampala and the team from eBird, and just ask questions. You could walk to Davis, you were free to walk to one of the girls called Abia, who also came with the team. So it was a free session. And after that session, we had our lunch. Lunch took a bit of time, like the lunch break, because it had that session where you would, interact with people and then have your meal. And after that, we waited for 4 p.m. where we now went for another sort of like birding excursion for the day. And after that birding excursion, we still came back to Kibale Forest Lodge and ended our day by taking some photos, of course, to commemorate the end of the workshop, which was very fruitful. There was a lot to learn. So it was a 2 days workshop, and the next morning, which is day 2 of the workshop, we met at Kafrid at Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary. So the meeting was still at 7:30 a.m. and people were arriving by that time. I arrived at about 7 a.m. I was at Kafrid. And so by 7:30 a.m. was starting. Of course, by now there weren't any introductions because we had all, met ourselves the previous day. So we had gotten a chance to interact. And of course, with birding is we start birding right away. You look out for the birds there. And then while we were waiting, actually, when one of the friends that I'd made from the previous day, who is Robert, were able to see 2 great blue turacos as we were waiting for other people to come in and join us. So after that, we had a few short introductions about what we're going to do for the day. And this time we were going to have a 2-hour bird walk of the Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary. So the Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary is, of course, located in Bigodi town, which is in western Uganda, and it's one of the main key attractions near Kibale National Park. So most times people who are visiting Kibale National Park usually do the chimpanzee tracking in the morning, and then they do an afternoon walk in Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary. Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary is a key attraction for birders from across the world because there are a number of species that you are able to see at the sanctuary. So you bird Kibale, the forest, and then you come and bird Bigodi Wetland Sanctuary. So after that, we were still put in 2 groups, but this time the groups were the number increased a bit. So like in this group, we were about 5 people, and we did the 2-hour bird walk. There was so much to see on this trail, so many birds that you were able to see, and we did that as well. We went birding. I'll still leave a screenshot of the checklist of the birds that we saw that day here. And while we were on that walk, we were able to see a red-tailed monkey. So the Bigodi Swamp Walk is something that there are a lot of surprises. You're able to see a lot of species of birds if you're a birder, and able to look out for wildlife that are in the sanctuary. So after that, we went back to Kibale Forest Lodge. So what we did was that the trails that we did, the different trails, because we did not want to see the same species of birds, is they all somehow ended up either at Kafred or at Kibale Forest Lodge. So ours ended at Kibale Forest Lodge, and we went there, and now we had a session after that. This was also a Q&A session and sharing more about birds and answering our questions. So in the second session now, we were able to have presentations from Colin, who was presenting about eBird, really showing us the website, showing us how the checklists show up, showing us how you can share a checklist with your friend on eBird, showing us the basic outlay of the website and how you can read the maps and the importance of recording observations of the birds that we see in the field. He also explained to us how it's very important that we observe and record, because it helps eBird that partners with other government agencies to see the population of birds in a specific area, to know if a bird is becoming threatened or if the numbers are reducing. So this data that you enter, as much as they encourage birding, it also helps them in their research on birds. So after that session, we had Marshall, who is now more from Malin, And he also explained to us about Marlin, about voice recording, and it was also a presentation. So after that, we now started looking at the maps in eBird. He was explaining to us the colors and what they mean on the map, and explaining to us if you want to see where there's a large concentration of, let's say, the great blue turako or the blue-breasted pitta, those observations are seen and explained on the website and on the map. So if you check the website, they have courses that can help you as a beginner when you're beginning to use the app. So there are some free courses that are sort of like introductory courses that you can go on the website and sign up for, so that it will help you be well conversant with eBird. So after that session, we still had a Q&A session. And after the Q&A session, we still had lunch by the team at Kibale Forest Lodge. Very tasty food. And after our lunch, we still waited like how we'd waited before for 4 p.m. so that we could now bird another trail. So after our lunch, we were now, free to leave at leisure. But before that, we had the team from Uganda, from eBird Uganda, give some closing remarks. And after they gave the closing remarks, they told us about, the official launch, which was happening on 16th of December, 2024, and welcomed everyone to, from the workshop to attend if they could make it. And it's happening in Kampala. So that was how the session was ended. It ended at leisure. People would still approach, Marshall and Colin to ask any questions about their presentations or about the general workshop. And yeah, basically that was it. And that, should I say, was the end of the workshop. But it was such a fruitful workshop. There was so much to learn. I can now say that I'm well conversant with the eBird app, and I will be using it to record observations when I go birding. There was so much to learn from the trainers. There was so much to learn from the workshop. And yeah, so eBird is going to be launching in Uganda officially on 16th December 2024. This is great news, and it's a testament of how birding has progressed in Uganda, and we're of course very excited that they are launching here. And I hope I will be teaching people that are interested, the little that I've learned, or should I say the much that I've learned, and sharing so that everyone can use the eBird app. So the launch was organized in conjunction or in partnership with Uganda Wildlife Authority, Uganda Women Birders, USAGA, and Nature Uganda, and of course eBird. So thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video and for watching it till the end. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can leave them in the comments, and yeah, you can follow all the updates about eBird Uganda. I think they have a blog that is, talking about the workshop. They must have put up a blog on their website. So you could also read that for details on that. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye.